Good morning, SAT Prep students. Here are your class instructions located on Schoology. Just to read this to you, last class we learned how to use the backdoor method on multiple choice problems. Today we're going to learn about how to use that same method, backdoor method, on grid-in questions. In other words, non-multiple choice questions. I'm recording this video, so you should watch the video that will be in today's folders as we finish. Then the assignment is in today's folder. You can either click the link down here that will get you to my YouTube channel, but you want to look for WHS SAT Prep A4 file. All right, let's start. All right, what you can do now is pause the video and see if you can answer these fill in the blank problems that I've been asking you. You think that'll be on the strategies quiz? Strategies quiz will be tomorrow. So make sure you know that. All right. Okay, so let's fill in the blanks. There's two types of test on the SAT math portion. One is only 25 minutes. Oh, I need a pen. And the other one is 55 minutes. On the shorter test, it's 20 items, no calculator. Of those 20, 15 are multiple choice and 5 are open-ended, or what I'm calling in today's lesson, grid-ins. Of those 55 questions, 38 are multiple choice, and 38 total questions, 30 of those 38 are multiple choice, 8. So if you add the 20 item and the 30 items from the 25 and the 55-minute test, you have 58 raw points. And remember, you can miss up to half of those questions and still end up with a 500, which is a good score. Decent, at least. Okay, so just like you recognize a backdoor problem that is multiple choice, you also recognize it in the same way here. So there are variables in the question and in the answers, and also the words in terms of. Okay, so here's our question. The average of X and Y is twice as big the average of A, B, and C. All right, so let's color code this a little bit. The average of X and Y. So average of X and Y would be whatever the sum of X and Y is divided by 2. Then we've got this word is, which means equals. And then we have this word twice, which means 2 times as big as the average of A, B, and C. So if you're trying to find the average of A, B, and C, you're going to add them up and divide by the numbers of numbers, which are 3. Okay. So we have to make up numbers that fit this scenario. Okay. So let's start. First, since we've got 3 numbers, let's start first by naming A, B, and C. Actually, let's start with X plus Y is 2. Let's figure out some numbers that would fit that. So X plus Y, let's say we picked numbers, let's say X is 15, let's say. So we want to choose easy numbers that fit the problem and avoid 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so let's say that we had x is equal to 15 and y is equal to 25, for example. Then we would have 15 plus 25 divided by 2. And I'm just picking those numbers because they're easy to add together and they're divisible by 2, right? So we want to make things easy for yourself. Okay, so 15 plus 25 is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So now what we want is we want the average of A, B, and C to be twice as much as the average of X and Y, right? So the average of X and Y is 20, so we need the average of A, B, and C to be 40, right? So we want A plus B plus C. The average of that, we want it to be twice as much as 20. Or we want it to be equal to 40. All right, so we need 3 numbers for A, B, and C whose average would be 40. Actually, that is not right. So A plus B plus C needs to be, since the 20 needs to be twice as much as the average of 3 numbers, really, we want this to equal half as much as 20, right? Because 20, oops, not 20, because 20 is supposed to be twice as big as the other number. So a number, so that 20 is twice as big, we want the average of those 3 letters to be equal to 10. And then we can even simplify this, right? Because if we want 3 numbers divided by 3 to equal 10, that's the same thing if we multiply both sides by 3 to get A plus B plus C must equal 30. So we need 3 numbers that equal 30. So let's pick easy numbers. Let's let A equal 5, B equal 10, and C equal 15. So 15 and 10 is 25 plus 5 more. So now we have our values for A, B, and C, and it fits the problem, right? And we also have our values for X and Y. All right, so what is the question they're asking us? They're saying the average of X and Y is twice as big as the average of A, B, and C. And for the numbers that we chose, it now fits the problem. Now, the question is, what is the value of X plus Y divided by A plus B plus C? Well, give you a little more room. You're going to use our numbers that we chose that fit the problem to answer their question. Their question is, what is X plus Y over A plus B plus C? Well, your X value is 15 and your Y value is 25. Your A, B, and C were 5, 10, and 15. Therefore, you've got 40 divided by 30, which is equal to 4/3. Now, the numbers that I chose are not the only numbers that would work, but you'd have to make sure that the average of x plus y, that this in green, you'd have to make sure that my cursor, you'd have to make sure that this is equal to, this average is twice as much as this average. So I picked numbers for these, figured out, all right, the average of x plus y is 20, so that 20's got to be twice as much as this average. So if you had this average be 10, then this would be twice as much. And that's how I figured out what my A, B, and C could be. Now notice there's many numbers that add up to 30. So you wouldn't have to choose these numbers. But if you chose numbers that add up to 30, different numbers, you would still get the same ratio in the end. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so if n is a factor, notice we've got variables in the question, right? So if n is a factor of 12 and p is a factor of 20, and 1 is less than n, and n is less than p, and p is less than 20, and q is a fraction where p is going to be divided by n, and then q is an integer. So the question is, they want you to find q when all that other stuff is going on. So let's start with n is a factor, oops, 10. Let's start with the factor that, the fact that n is a factor of 12. All right, so here's n. And let's list the factors of 12. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And then p is a factor of, so these are the possibilities for p's, factor of 20. So that would be 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10, and of course 20. Okay, so what we're after here is we want a p divided by n to equal a whole number. Okay, and q is an integer, which means a whole number. It's actually, an integer could be a positive or a negative whole number, but basically we want a whole number. Okay. We also know something else, and that is that n is less than p. N is less than p. All right, so let's start out. Another thing it tells us too is that 1 is less than 20, or sorry, that both n and p are between 1 and 20. So since that says it's not less than or equal to, that means then 1 and 20 can be eliminated. Right? So any factors of n that are 1 or 20 can be eliminated, and any factors of p that are 1 and 20 can be eliminated. All right, so let's just start kind of an organized trial here. If we did p over n is equal to, let's just start with, let's say p was 2 and n was 2. Well, that's going to violate the rule that p has to be greater, right? N is less than p. So if this were a 2, that would violate that rule. So that can't work. Well, let's try a different number. What about 2 divided by 3? Well, that would violate that rule also, right? And so we know that n has to be less than P. So at this point, we can eliminate 2, right? We can get rid of the possibility of P being a 2 because all the numbers are equal to or greater than left over. So I'm going to eliminate that. All right, so let's try 4. So what if we had 4 divided by 2? Well, P is greater than N, so that fits that. And also, if you divide 4 by 2, you do get a whole number. So your answer could just be 2. But just so you guys get the hang of what I'm doing here, let's try a couple other numbers. So P has to be greater than N, and when you divide them, you have to get a whole number. All right, so we tried 4 divided by 2. We could try 4 divided by 3, but that's not a whole number, right? Let's assign a color to a whole number. Let's say green. So that's not a whole number. All right, so if we did 4 divided by 4 or 4 divided by 6, then P wouldn't be greater. So we can eliminate the 4. We've tried everything there. All right, now let's try 5. What if we tried 5 over 2? That's not a whole number. All right, how about 5 over 3? Well, that's not a whole number either. How about 5 over 4? Again, not a whole number. 5 over 5 is, well, we don't have a 5 in the top, so we're done with 5 at this point. All right, let's try 10. How about 10 over 2? Well, P is definitely greater than that, and it is a whole number, 5. So there's another possibility. Let's try some more. Let's say 10 divided by 3. Well, that's not a whole number. 10 divided by 4, that's not a whole number. 10 divided by 6 is 5/3. That's not a whole number. And 10 divided by 12 wouldn't work because the P is supposed to be less than the Q, right? So the 2 possible answers that you could answer this with and get it right are 5. Well, let's go up and make sure that we're answering the question they're asking, right? So what we know at this point is we know what P and N could be. Let's see what they're asking us for. They're asking us for Q. Yeah. Find one possible value of Q. So the answer would be either 2 or 5. Either of those would answer the question. Okay, triangle problems. You can expect to see at least 2 or 3 triangle problems. And there's some basic information that you got to remember from geometry. And one is that, let's call that angle Z, that X plus Y plus Z, or the angles inside the triangle, must add up to 180 degrees. Another thing you got to remember is X plus Y plus 90 degrees, which Z is also true, which means that X and Y must add up to, if you subtract 90 from both sides, 90 degrees, right? So if you know one of the angles is a 90-degree angle, the other 2 angles must add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so the question is, if 4x equals y, what is y minus x? So here's a two-part question, right? So first thing you have to do is find out what x and y are before you do this. So this is a two-part question. All right, so we're going to find out what x and y are. So let's see. We have to make up numbers for possible x's and y's. And the condition as we make up the numbers is that 4x must equal y. All right, so, and we have to remember that x and y has to equal 90. So you have to keep that in mind when you're choosing your x and your y's. So let's see, if I had x was 30, then y had to be 60, right, in order for them to equal 90. So let's try that. Is 4 times 30 equal to 60? Well, no, 120 is not equal to 60. So that doesn't work. So let's keep trying things. What if x were 10? Well, y would have to be equal to 80, right, in order to add up to 90 degrees. So let's try that. 4 times 10, oops, let me make that legible. Does that equal your y value of 80? Nope, doesn't work. We'll try so we're going to try a number that's a little higher. Let's try 15. So 15 plus 75, that will give you 90. So 4 times 15, does that equal 75? And it does not. 4 times 15 is only 60, but we're getting closer, right? 60 is closer to 75 than when we were doing this one, 120 and 60. So we know we're going in the right direction. So I'm going to say just a little bit more like 18. So if one angle is 18, the other angle would have to be 72 in order to add up to 90. So let's see, is 4 times 18 equal to 72? And it is. So what we know is that our x is 18 and our y is 72. That's what will fit the problem. So now we're going to use our numbers, x is 18 and y is 72, to answer the question they're asking us, which is what is y minus x? If you do the math, you'll get 54. All right, let's try another one. If the average of A, B, and C is 2, then what is the value of 2 raised to the A plus B plus C power? Well, we need the average of A, B, and C equal to 2. So before we make up our numbers, we have to make sure that A, B, and C averaged would give you 2. So if we have A plus B plus C, we're going to divide it by 3 to get an average. We want it to equal 2. Well, kind of like we did in the other problem, right? We can simplify this by multiplying both sides by 3 to get that A plus B plus C must equal 6. So let's see, numbers that equal 6. Let's say A equals 1. Let's say B equals 2. And let's say C equals 3. That's 3 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 6. So now that we have our values, we can plug it into the question they're asking us, right? Well, the question they're asking you is what's 2 to the a plus b plus c power? Well, that's going to be 2 to the 1 plus 2 plus 3 power, which is equal to 2 to the 6th power. You put that in your calculator, 2 to the 6th power is equal to 64. Now again, those numbers that I chose are not the only ones that would work, right? Any three numbers whose average is equal to 2 would work. All right, here's another question for you. Point P has coordinates at 0, 3. So let's just draw a sketch. So 0, 3 would be right here, 1, 2, 3. All right, and that's point P. Point Q has coordinates somewhere else, x, y, but the slope of the segment P, this should be a Q to me. Let me fix that. There. Oh, it's just hidden. Let me erase something there. There we go. Okay, but what they do tell you is that the slope of this segment, the slope of the segment is 1/4, right? And slope is rise over run. So we're going to go up 1 and over 4. To here. Well, if we went up 1, oops, let's do that in a different color. Point Q would be right here. So if we went up 1 from 3, that means the y value is 4 now. And if we went over 4, then the x value went from 0 to now being 4. So now we have a value for x and y, and now we can answer the two-part question. Question they're asking is, what's 4y minus 12 divided by x? Well, our y value is 4, and also our x value is 4. So 16 minus 12 is 4, and 4 divided by 4 is just 1. So there's the answer to your question. All right, there are assignments, and I will upload this video to Schoology as well. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.